Not like October at all.
Surprised you guys were here.
What are you dressing up as for Halloween?
I'm not. That's a good question now.
Do you have
Maybe
a
one day
favorite
I'll do that
Halloween
again.
candy?
Reese's peanut butter cups for sure. Yeah, I love peanut butter. How do you beat peanut butter and chocolate, really?
Okay.
You know. I do miss in Wisconsin. We'd take the kids trick or treating there. The parents would hand the other parents beers at the door. The kids would get candy, and the parents would get nice Wisconsin beer. I do miss that.
That happens in my neighborhood. That happens in my neighborhood.
Does it?
Do you give out bourbon to the parents?
I don't. Maybe one day I'll do that, but right now it'd probably be considered inappropriate. So, any other questions?
How's this week going in prep for Stanford?
It's been a good week, yeah. I mean, beautiful weather, as you know. Guys have definitely benefited from the week, you know, not just in the rest that we could give them, but the chance to really narrow in on things fundamentally and schematically that we want to do better. And so it's been a good week. You know, we've been able to take some hitting off of them, but still get some quality work in, get some young guys some work. We did a lot of that during the bye week with the developmental guys, so it was good to see their progression since fall camp as well.
Any of those developmental guys in particular stand out to you?
You know, it's fun to see the body changes and the confidence. You know, Elijah Groves, the guy that's put on 20 good pounds, so seeing him and where he's at compared to when he got here, where he didn't know anything in our defense. It was fun to see that. Chase Bond, another young guy that's gained, he's almost 280 pounds now, you know. So to see him, a lot of the linemen able to give, you know, Kamen Smith, guys that travel but aren't getting game reps, able to give guys significant work. So it's fun to see that. Give Lex Thomas a lot of work at quarterback. Jonathan Paylor, you know, again, seeing his progression, because as you know in high school he kind of did everything, and how he's progressed as a true receiver. But it's good, you know, that Tuesday we scrimmaged them, you know, so they're able to go out and hit. Ronnie Royal, Brody, you know, seeing guys hit and cover and make plays, so it was fun for those guys to be able to do that.
On Tuesday, when we talked to the players, they mentioned that getting that win at Cal and having that open date, it was kind of like a monkey coming off their back a little bit. They got a chance to breathe. Have you seen any kind of renewed sense of energy in practice this week?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, you know, the reward is winning, right? And the prior two games, we were right there and didn't get it done. And you know, going through what we did emotionally as a team, you know, through Grayson's injury and then CJ becoming the guy, and then now it's his team, you know, and he got that win, a comeback win. And we played as a team together on the road 8 straight weeks, all the things that went into that 8th game, you know, to see them overcome that against a team that's really good on defense. That was a great win. And then to have that momentum going into a bye week and, all right, here's what's left. You know, here's the 4 teams, here's how it lays out. Another bye coming after Duke. There's definitely that confidence that you get from a win and excitement, you know, about what you can do still with the rest of the season.
I know Grayson has been on the sideline all season, you know, even when he's been out. But since officially, you know, announcing his retirement, what's it been like to see him in practice with the guys?
He's coaching, you know. I mean, he's really good at that. Just talking to CJ through a player's lens. It's fun to see, you know, him get disappointed at other guys, and you know, when you become a coach, you know, you get mad because you see a guy do something, you're like, why isn't he doing that right, you know? And so to see that side of them, and now, you know, they're like, now I know why you get frustrated. You know, those are the first comments you get from players that become coaches, is they can see now why their coach gets mad sometimes, because it does, you know, it irks you when it seems so simple, you know, and then you get out there and it doesn't work. And but he's got energy, he's very insightful, he cares a lot about just, you know, CJ's development, Lex's development, and he's smiling and having fun with it. And so that's important too in this transition, that he gets back to letting the game get back to him.
You mentioned the developmental guys getting a lot of work. You know, how do you balance, you know, them in these last 4 games, being able to get them in and get them game reps while maintaining pressure?
Well, we use the 4 games when we can, based on our needs and how they can help us. We're not going to take a guy off the field on a special team and just insert a guy. You know, he has to show us that he's capable of helping us. And if he does show us that, then we put him out there, you know, and try to use, if we can, 3 to 4 games, knowing that you can't have a 5th in postseason when you qualify. So, but sometimes early in the year, they're not ready, and so it's not even a consideration. And then you start seeing them get better and better and better, and now you have an injury, and hey, this guy's ready to help us. And Coach Goebel does a good job evaluating them on the scout team with special teams as well. So our kickoff returns blocking a scout kickoff guy, and he consistently makes plays. Hey, this guy's someone I need to look at on the other side of the ball. And so it's an evolution. It's a fast season, but a million things happen, and guys do develop and grow up during the season. Last year, Brandon Cleveland didn't play really until the 6th game, and then all of a sudden by the bowl game he was starting. So guys can get a lot better over the course of the year if they handle that developmental piece the right way.
Is Zane Williams kind of that example of
Yeah,
getting his
Zane.
feet wet on special teams?
Definitely, yeah. Zane's been effective on special teams for us. He's doing good things. Ronnie Royal, same thing. Been effective. Saad Brown, is getting some reps in there now doing that as well. You see Isaiah Crowell's a guy that made plays on special teams throughout the year, and then we needed him on defense, and he had confidence, because he was out there making those plays.
We talked to Dante Daniels a few weeks ago. From your perspective, where has he grown as a person and as a player since being here?
That's a long answer, because he's been through a lot. His stories, I don't know if you guys told his story or not. I haven't read the news, but his story is, a lot different than most people's stories, and he's been through a lot. I think he's at peace, I think he's forgiven people in his life. I think he's very, grounded. He's engaged, so his life is different than a lot of college people's lives. He's learning still, being, from Canada and playing American football, how different things are, and getting better as he does that. But yeah, it's been fun to see him transition, and I love recruiting junior college players because they come in so grateful, because there's nothing at those places, in some cases no one's there to tape their ankles. They got obviously no training table, they eat at the cafeteria, and then all of a sudden someone hands you a shake and you're like, what's this? You're giving me something, and so the appreciation and gratitude, especially his story, going through what he did as a youngster. So I'm really hopeful for his growth, because he's got a huge upside still, and he's just now starting to make plays for us and get better and better as a blocker.
Peyton, who went to the Ring of Honor this
Yes,
weekend, you
yeah.
always would like to kind of see him do it so fast after playing here last year.
Yeah, well, one of the best college football players I've watched in my career on defense, and his story, again, another great story when you look at the adversity and struggle through his career with injuries, and turning into one of the best leaders I've been around who wasn't that. That wasn't natural for him. What was natural was playing harder than everybody else and competing harder than everybody else. But holding up people accountable and setting a standard and being able to talk in front of the room. He was petrified of public speaking, and now he can do that like it's nothing, he's just watching that whole circle, seeing him graduate from college, and then, what he's doing in the NFL is fantastic. And he deserves and has earned everything that he's got. And being up there, I don't know, is it fast? You could have put him up there the day he was drafted, and it would have been probably right on time.
Have you had much of a chance to really follow along with his season so far with the Steelers?
I don't get to watch games, but anytime there's highlights on our guys in the league, we talk about them. The coaches said, "Did you see Peyton last night?" You're like, "No, let me see it." And the guys will pull up plays. My sons do a good job of telling me about the NFL games and what's going on. It's pretty cool. The two Wilsons are, playing good in Pittsburgh, man. It's awesome for Russell as well. I'm happy for both of them.
Will you have Peyton speak to the team at all before or after the game? Will he be involved in it?
It just depends on, he's got a lot to do here this weekend. Obviously, if that presents itself, we will. But timing that up with a noon game makes it a little tougher because of how fast things go on Saturday for us. If it was a night game, we'd have a bigger window.
You had 2 quarterbacks, grad transfers the last 2 years. They don't spend a lot of time in Raleigh, but they seem to have built strong bonds with the program. What is it about them and your program that makes that the case?
Yeah, I think you start with them, and you try to find people that fit our culture, our DNA. Both Brennan, that you're referring to from last year, who's actually in Raleigh now, pitching over there with the baseball team, trying to get his arm right to be a pitcher. And so he's jumped in with Coach Avent. And Grayson, they're our kind of people, they're blue collar, they're grounded, they're tough, gritty, talented, and so they fit. And when you end up in an environment where you're comfortable and it fits you, it makes you want to stay, And I think it's just natural for those guys to feel that way because they're in a place that fits them and they fit us. And They're definitely revered by their teammates, but also, you know, the respect and love that our fans have poured into these guys over the last 2 years has been great.
You mentioned that this is CJ's team now. What does his influence on a team look like? How have you seen that rub off on the guys?
You know, he's got a childish enthusiasm about just being out on a field with a ball, and at the same time, he's got a professional competitive spirit. Like, he plays hard, and he wants his guys around him to play hard. And he's not afraid to call a guy out there. Like, you got to go full speed right here, man. I need a better picture of that play. And he gives that, and so it's natural. You know, he's not a nervous guy. He just goes out and plays. He loves playing. He's been competing in this sport against good people a long time. As a guy that played on offense in college, I would love to have played football with him. I mean, just being in the huddle with a guy like that, that's what you want, you know, as a teammate.